Hello. Morning, evening, or afternoon. Hope everyone's having a pleasant Sunday. We're here, we're doing it. Gonna write some code. It's gonna be great. Connor, Harand, Matthias, Daz, hello. AC, hello. I remember to press the button today. I'm a professional streamer after all. Connor, hello. Quacko, evening. John, hello. Julian, all the regulars are here. Good to see. I'm going to start off with something slightly different today. Again, as something I've been experimenting with off stream that is too bleeding edge even for me to consider running it in the game, but I've been playing around with something and I thought people might be interested in it because it's quite exciting. No, still C++. C++ 26. I have been trying to get my head around reflection, and I genuinely am on board the hype train. I think it's going to be incredible. I did have to build my own compiler. Not like write my own compiler. I had to build a fork of Clang to get it to work, which has other interesting repercussions. But yeah, it's been fun. Indeed. Let's press a button and let's have a look. So you can get the fork of Clang from the guy who wrote the paper now and have a play around with it. And even better, it is on Godbolt. So if you want to just mess around with it in like single line form, then you can. Let's check this is kind of a reasonable size. So I was playing around with dependency injection, right? The idea. Well, see, John, that's an excellent point because some people consider 26 to be the new 11, as in like 26 could be the new modern C++, the bigger changes 11 was. Anyway, I was playing around with dependency injection, the idea being that dependency injection in general is just a fancy term for a not very fancy concept where you accept base classes basically and you provide implementations at runtime. So you kind of, you just give it, you inject the dependencies that it needs rather than having the class own them. So if you use interfaces, then you can provide mocks and fakes and stubs, etc., or change them all out. And I was kind of, what I wanted was, how can we do this like automatically? So C# does this. If you have used ASP.NET, it has its own dependency injection framework and it feels like magic because all you have to do, right, where's my example here? So I've got some base classes. They are not great. Base 1, base 2, some of my best naming, derived 1, derived 2. These have pure virtual functions. They're both called foo. They could be named different things. Base 1 and base 2 are entirely independent. But I then have again, not great naming, but I have a class called foo and a class called bar, and this takes in a pointer to a b1, and this takes in 2 pointers to a b1 and a b2. So yeah, this is very much slideware. Son of Liberty, I'm glad you're enjoying it and rewatching it. Thank you very much appreciated. So traditionally what you would do is you would somewhere allocate or unique pointer your various derived classes, then you would construct a bar and then you would just pass those pointers in. So there's this kind of manual process of resolving those dependencies, so creating the base classes and then mapping them in. What I'd really like to do is just kind of, I don't know, maybe even reflect out the arguments for here and automatically construct them and pass them in, which is what I've got down here, right? So I create this, I don't like this double type list, I just couldn't bother to fix it. But this injector class maps base classes to derived classes. So whenever anything wants a base 1, I should really give it a derived 1. And when anything wants a base 2, I should really give it a derived 2. And notice here I do inj.create foo bar. There are no arguments here. Okay, I've not passed any arguments. Internally, through reflection, it has gone and found the constructor for this type, found the arguments within it, constructed them, and passed them in. So it's automatically constructed that object for me, just by looking up these types. Hello, hello. So I think that's pretty cool. I'll kind of go through, I'm still figuring out a lot of the syntax. I noticed, but I think what the really key thing here is that we print the address of B1 in both foo and bar. And over here, you can see that the address is the same. So it's not only is it constructing the object, but it's always giving each derived class the same object. Yeah, I'm just going through some reflection that I've been playing around with. It's not part of the project. It's not part of the stream. I just thought it might be interesting for some people. So I think that's the key point. This is what I really wanted, is that this is effectively constructed once each derived object and passed in, so everyone always gets the same derived one. So what does this kind of look like under the hood? I thought, I'll go through this, and then realised I've not actually looked at this in a few days. So let's see if we can see if I can remember what this is all about. So the injector just takes in these two type lists. A type list is basically just like a compile time vector for types with no methods on it. It's just how it stores those. And then the magic is create. So you template this on the so this is be foo or bar. This is the thing you want to construct. You've not missed anything. I'm literally just talking about something I was working on outside of the stream. And then I have to, so the whole crux of reflection is the double carry, right? That is the thing that does the reflection. You do that on a type, and that returns to you a stud meta info object, which I believe is like an opaque object that the rest of the machinery understands. So I reflect out the meta info for foo or bar. Okay, I need an access context, the current one. Sure. And then, like ranges, absolutely use ranges, filter out all of the members. So this will be all of the constructors, the destructors, the special members, the non-static data members, the data members, all that. I filter those out to the constructor. Take the first one, hope it's the right one. This is not ready for production. Let's just take that first constructor and hope for the best. And then I can get the parameters of that CTOR, okay? I have to put this in this special defined static array, which basically, so this becomes a vector of meta infos, but something const expra doesn't like it. You have to wrap it in this magical defined static array, which I believe turns into a view of const meta infos. I'm not a bit shaky on those details. All I know is that there was a GitHub issue around this, and then the author of the paper was like, use this and it'll work. And then I do this sort of template horror, which, what does this do? This has some of the most egregious C++ I've ever written. Obviously, it splices in the meta info as a type down to the base underlying type, mapping that to the derived type into a type list, obviously. But splicing is basically how you turn meta infos back into, how you splice them back into the code, basically. So I have, because I have a parameter list of something somewhere. Yeah, I know. That's a little smiley face. It won't. It will. If you have if you have an implicit constructor, then it won't. Then this will be empty, right? It'll have no params. So then this will just map to nothing. It probably would construct it. Obviously, if you have a default one, it'll find whichever one is first. So this map basically create arg is the thing that maps does the mapping between the base and the derived. So again, take the C, find it in bases. So I have to use a little bit of unpacking here. I turn all this is why I need to have these as two separate lists. So I could specialize it. Get the template list for the bases and the derives, and I turn these into static arrays that I can then range through. So find out of all the base classes, find the type that we're trying to map, and then from in that find the derived types. Again, we splice it in to get the type name, and then we construct it. So this constructs that derived class. I don't particularly like this because I don't actually use the constructed one here. I just decor type it. There's probably a better way of doing this. But yeah, this just does some index sequencing magic to effectively iterate through a parameter pack, because you can't easily iterate through a parameter pack. Yeah, it's pretty gross. And then when you call create, create, and then I have a helper create function, because basically what this produces is a type list of all the derived types that constructor is expecting. So foo base 1, base 2, this will turn this into a type list of derived 1, derived 2. So this resolves that mapping into a type list. Whew, getting there. And then create takes the underlying type of the foo and that type list. And then basically what I quite like here is it allocates a special node object of each of those types because it unpacks them. And this is how we guarantee that every object is passed in the same time, because it just inline static creates that object and then we just pass in the pointer to it. So this is what does the actual allocating and pass the pointer in. But yeah, I know. I thought it was pretty cool. It was good. It was good fun to try and write. This was pretty egregious to write. This wasn't too bad. And then some of this was just pretty standard template meta programming. But yeah, I don't know. Thoughts? Ship it? Yeah, sorry, it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. It's not really what I wanted to kind of. It's not the thrust of today's stream, but I thought it was kind of fun to play with. I did post this link in the Discord. Little plug, if anyone wants to go around with it. I'm expanding this. I don't know. I think this is it. I don't think it gets any cleaner than this. I think reflection will be used a lot by library authors to make better interfaces. So the idea is that you would, as a dev trying to solve an actual problem who needed dependency injection, you would just get the injector library and under the hood, which would give you the nice interface, which is powered by all this kind of horror. But I've expanded this a little bit further. I'm working on something else at the moment. I'll share it when I'm kind of ready. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm on board. I'm here for it. Like if you think, so when this is fully rolled out, okay, and we're streaming after this is available and ready for production, where I once thought everything was a ranger's problem, I suspect everything will suddenly become a reflection problem. So get used to the smiley face, because I'm going to splice in left, right, and center. Anyway, let's do some actual work. The double carré is the kind of like the entrance to the reflection system. The double carré turns a type into a stud meta info. Oh, that was the other thing, is that you gotta throw const expr and const val all over the shop. I didn't need it, but there's some really exciting new syntax as well, which I've needed since in something else I'm doing, which is template for. New for loop dropping soon. This effectively allows you to almost like force unrolling the loop, because it then allows you to do in, I don't know, params. This allows you to, this is not correct, but this allows you to have a const expr iterator, because normally if you have const expr in a for loop, you can't update it on the next iteration. So yeah, this it's kind of like unrolls it. It will generate the code for each iteration for you, but allow you to make const expr on the arguments, which is super important for some of this stuff, which is all. Oh, that does actually compile. So yeah, you could, if you wanted to loop through all these, you could just template for it. Yeah, basically. New for loop coming soon. Template for. The original proposed syntax was this, which I think I might actually prefer, because I think this is not what that was originally proposed, but this is what got standardized. I just think it's kind of weird to have template in there. I'd actually prefer const expr for, like const expr, or sorry, if, like for const expr rather than like if const expr. Template seems strange to me. But yeah, C++ 26, new for loop. I suspect it needed to come 26 because it makes a lot of the reflection stuff possible. Yeah, maybe. Yes, true. But yeah, he's got to going from the const. I found the biggest difficulty for me was mapping the const expr space back to the runtime space. So like you reflect all the types out, and it's like, okay, I actually need to print or do this, do something with this, and then I'd be forever getting errors like this isn't const expr. It's like, I know, because at some point I need to actually run the code. So that was a challenge that I faced. It's all solvable. I've tried, so you can't do normal I, but you can do const expr. I think you can do template for const expr in studviews iota. I believe you can. Something like that would then give you the const expr auto, I think. See if this accepts it. I think it has. Oh no, it's still spinning. Yes, so you can do, this would be your new compile time for loop, basically. And then I believe in that as well. You can then do if const expr x, equals 2, and then kind of go through that. Yeah. Yes, you just can't. This doesn't follow the normal structure of loop, which is what statement expression. It's like, I've been talking to some people, and like generally the view is that reflection is the next big thing, is the next big thing, right? It is, you're almost gonna have to be fluent in it to be able to use C++ maybe in like 4 or 5 years time. But who knows? Who knows? It's all up in the air. All I know is that I'm having a lot of fun playing around with it. Mainly because it kind of almost requires you to use ranges. Okay, let's do some actual work. So where did we get to on this? I've not been able to fix this popping up behind, which is a little bit annoying, but so this don't we need to like copy from templates into levels? When we try and load a custom level, I believe it was crashing because it's trying to load something out of the. This is the problem, right? So the problem we're trying to solve is we want to be able to load custom levels first, ideally, so that when the game starts up, it will look to see if there's a levels directory. Inside that, it will load anything called .lua, and then after that, it will load all the levels that we pack in with the resource. So the issue is, I think it was this. We tried to call GetFile on the script's name, which is not. Well, there's only GetFile, so. Anyway, this is what we need to figure out today, is why this doesn't work. Get this fixed, then we can do a release where people can write their own levels. And then I want to start adding more stuff to the level geometry. Yes, it was trying to... That was it. GetFile, that's it. GetFile, arrange, look at that. That's a typo as well. Oh, simple. This is all wrong. I must. Did I abstract this out and use it in multiple places? And then, yeah. Never update. Let me just quickly fix this because it's. Simple, but. That's better. That feels like a commit. Fix naming in GetFile. Cool. Ship it. I don't know. I've thought about doing some more YouTube videos on C++. It's not really what, like, YouTube is relentlessly kind of committed to consistency. So throwing videos out there that are not in line with what else I do potentially won't do as well. I might do one, but also, like, it's my channel. I should, if I want to do it, I should do it. So I'm undecided yet. It might be cool to be one of the first out there to do it. It would be different to my regular style, so I don't know. Or I'll just yammer on about it live, and you guys can just put up with me talking about it here and now. which you talking about this? I think the correct answer is to just dependency inject the source straight in. So rather than taking a script name, they should take just the source, and then anything outside of that can decide where that comes from, because it's from the is it the level routine? Get level names. Basically, what we're doing here is trying to load the levels. Then we've got the built-in levels. Oh, but this is just the level names. We either need, so there's two ways of doing this. We either abstract away the source of the data so that the Lua level is just constructed with the string source. It will mean we'll probably need to load every level into memory. However, might not be the end of the world because it's all sitting in the TLV, which is loaded into memory anyway. So that little duplication to start with might not be too bad. The other thing is that we wrap the script name in some sort of struct with like a load function, and that load function can be different depending on whether it's from the file system or from the TLV. So this just literally calls like script.load, and then under the hood it figures it out. Raiding 12 people. Hello, welcome. You've just missed all the reflection fun, so apologies, but now I'm trying to solve real problems. Hello. We're doing some C++. Yeah, the thing is though, like I am chronically short on time, as like I think, you know, a lot of people are. So doing a blog or a newsletter or something, whilst I think would be good, I'm just worried about taking on something else I'd need to commit to doing regularly, because I'd hate to start something and not be able to finish it. I was just messing around with the reflection. I'll bring it up. I wrote a little reflection-based dependency injector, so you can map bases to derived classes and then give it construct something which takes pointers to those base classes, and it will automatically, using reflection, reflect out the constructor, find the base types, construct the derived types, and pass them in. So you can auto-construct your foo and bar without ever having to worry about what those bases are. You just say at compile time, whenever I see a pointer to a base, actually give it a derived. So yeah, that was kind of what we were looking through. But alas, that is not... I've had to build my own... I've had to build a separate fork of Clang just to get that working locally, so it's not very... And one of the fun things about that now is because I'm using an experimental branch of Clang, when I get a bug, is it me or is it the experimental compiler? It's always me, but sometimes you've got to think, is it the Clang? One thing I have noticed is I can no longer use std hash. It can't find the symbol for it for some reason, and I literally do not care enough to fix it. So everything is now just a vector of tuples of key values. That is my new hash table. Yeah, I can understand why a lot of this does seem like magic. It's not. It is all understandable, but it does get quite deep quite quick. Okay, we're not doing anything. I'm tempted to create a script abstraction, like a super lightweight script or a script loader, maybe. Maybe script loader would be better, because then that can have the name of the script in it, and then I guess we could either have two derived classes and make it virtual, or it could just be a struct with a std function that does the loading, or an enum that you pass in and then internally it figures it out for you. That might be the best one. Let's just make it a runtime problem. Okay, let's go source scripting script loader.h. Let's start, as always, let's just start like writing some code, hashing this out, and then we'll see where we get to. Could make it templated. No. Let's go struct. No, let's not. Let's do class. Script loader. So the enterprise level engineering me wants to have this as a base class and have multiple derived classes, but then you would have to unique pointer them and then move those around. And I think for what we want to do, which is actually solve this problem reasonably quick, I think that might be overkill. Yeah, so Wine is just as an emulation layer. It just emulates like NTDLL, kernel DLL, all the Windows DLLs, so that, because you have to remember at the end of the day, code is code. A compiled Windows binary is still just running x86 instructions. A compiled Linux L file is just running x86 instructions. I'm going to go on a limb here and say the real difference is how it interacts with the system. So what Wine does is it emulates all the Windows libraries. It has its own PE loader. So it can pass the Windows PE files, it can derive out all the libraries, it can then load those, and it kind of hooks it all up so it works on Linux. Indeed, Wine is not an emulator. It is a... yes, sorry, did I say emulator? I meant it doesn't... It's not like a VM. It literally loads the code effectively natively and provides native implementations of the Windows DLLs. Apologies. Interop, translation, all great words, not the one I used. Out of myself was an absolute fool there. But yeah, it's not a VM. It doesn't emulate the x86 instructions. It runs them natively, but it provides shims for the native binaries. I was going to do a video on this. I wrote my own like super basic Wine implementation to see how it worked, and I managed to get some basic like libc only or UCRT linked only executables running through it. But I kind of got, I don't know, I kind of just fizzled out. Anyway, we're not writing any code. Regular Bucker, thanks very much. Okay, so we're going to take from here. And let's treat ourselves string view, I guess. Do I even... no, I'm going to want to own a copy of it. Let's go string. Let's go name. I'm going to call it name, even though I guess name is kind of a generic term because it could be the name within the... I guess it is kind of the name because it's still called the same thing in the resource pack. I didn't... What I was alluding to is that I was concerned name might mean one thing to one of the loaders and something different to the other, but I think name is fine. I think I'm overthinking it. Name, and then we're going to want a enum class script load method, and this will be resource file, and then this will take a script load method, and then this will have a nope, not standardized it yet. I'll write paper. Load method, and then from here we'll have an auto load const, I guess, string that what it returns? What does this return? Text file value, which is a text file, which is fine. So this will return a text file object which has the data in it. So that's fine because I can just return the name. Anyway. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Sorry, missed the question there. Is the reflection, we're going to be talking a bit about reflection today. I'm sorry. Is it like the Java reflection? No, because it's purely compile time. So it's unlike, there's no, like, C#, for instance, is reflection where you can go through the assemblies and pull out bits. I believe Java's runtime as well. C++1 is all done at compile time, which leads to quite some interesting things you can do. Yes, well, I'm hoping to get to an instance of the game running soon. It won't run right now because it's broken, but my aim is we will show it soon. Okay, so let's do source utils. Nope. Script. So far, not had any real issues with the coroutines either, which has been nice. Script loader, that might need to be scripting. It's game. And then let's do script loader. Script loader. Right. Don't know why I'm writing all this out. Okay, I'll do one of those, and then we will just do name, load, method. I think someone was talking about this the other day. Because I use a code formatter, I tend to just not write my code in a particularly well formatted way. It just almost continuously on one line as my thoughts come to me, and then I just rely on the formatter to fix it all for me. I mean, Lua is just text scripts, just text, right? That text has got to exist somewhere in your game, so they're probably reasonably easy to find out. Like you just put a breakpoint on the Lua function that does the loading of the script, and it'll be that arc. I think there's a bang auto opportunity in the chat. A bang ret. Okay, so let's hook this up to CMake. So this will be now. Oh yeah, I'm going to reflect the shit out of all my Lua interop. Oh, it's going to be so good. Can you imagine just giving it a class and you can just instantly reflect out all the bindings for it. Oh, it's going to be so good. Yeah, I read the chat. Pretty cool. But like it's time slice, right? I've got to write some code, read the chat, right? And I does write some code, read the chat. It does just mean that I do occasionally miss out some messages. I do apologize. It's not intentional. Okay, so let's just check that builds. Building is an excellent time for me to kind of take a break and go through the messages. Yeah, that's a blast in the past. Nihil, that was literally just answered by our friendly Nightbot. Okay, well this is having a bad time. Let's give this a little bit swift kick in the shins. So the formatting for the thing that turns this into that. So that is called a ligature, and it's part of the font. NeoVim supports rendering that, but it's not necessarily a NeoVim feature. It's called a ligature, so you need to have a font which supports that, which I do, because that's how it works. I find it I personally find it easy to read. I know it's not for everyone. Yeah, you want, so what do I use? I use Fira Code. It's my go-to font, and it has all these ligatures for various different things. Here you go. So if you're a JavaScript programmer, you get your triple equals. The nice sounds. It does lots of fancy things with like the OX in the hex and stuff to make it easier to read. It does stuff with like if you're doing ASCII art. I really like it. I think there's a Nerd Font Forge, what they call it, Nerd Font enrichment, which then gives you all like the like all these down at the bottom, all these like symbols for the different languages. These are all fonts that have been added to that font. I don't really know what you mean. So the arrow type just basically it's just putting the return type at the end. There's some specific cases where you do need it involving decal type, which might be what you're referring to. I have it more as for an aesthetic choice. It's just another way of writing the code. Like I think there is some niche situation where you do need to use it, possibly with decal type, but I can't remember specifically. Other than that, I just prefer it. Yeah, by and large, I would say it's equivalent to doing the standard way. Having now done it for 60 odd streams, because I started doing it at the beginning of this series to see if I liked it. I now really like it, and I now do it out of habit. Yes, we're using C++23, or as much of it as MSVC gives me. Okay, so that builds. Let me just update my terrible tooling. Okay, so now we can start actually writing some of the meat of this. So let's do loader. Let's bring this back. So we're going to need these two. Also, the nice thing about doing auto type is that I can just do this and auto inserts them both into the same place, which I know. Think of all the time I've saved. Oh no, they've gone. Well, I've been wrong. Okay, I would have saved time if I'd pressed the right. Oh, it's put it in the wrong place, hasn't it? Let's try that again. But now that they're all aligned. There we go. Yes, but we all make mistakes, don't we? Happens to us all. I think Gigabyte Studios might have that. Is that the time when you need the train return type? Although I guess you could probably just use auto return type in general, right? I'm just trying to read your template type name, decal type. Oh, okay, fine, yeah. So again, script loader is actually a little bit of a misnomer now. It's a good point. This won't actually load the script. This will load the source. So all the loading is done. We already have a script abstraction which does all this, and this has. Well, this uses a unique pointer with Lua close, so it automatically closes the state at the end. And then we have our script runner, which is a little bit of template, small amounts, just a wee bit of template metaprogramming, well, bit of templating magic to figure out the return types, because a Lua script can return multiple values. So I want to support that. So when you execute your script, you say, hey, I'm expecting no arguments, one argument, or multiple arguments, and then the function will either return a void, that single type, or a tuple of those types, which is quite nice. That works quite nicely. Nightbot claims its first victim. Okay, so then we're going to do switch on. Someone subscribed. Thank you very much. Can't see who it is. It's not popped up in my chat, and I can't read it on the screen. So, Fallen Morningstar. Thank you very much. Let's do switch on load method. And let's do using enum script load method, and then do case resource case file. Keep that happy. Okay. So I do use a lot of templates because I do often find they are the right solution to the problem. I just quite enjoy using them to solve problems. So the reason I did this was because in this particular case was because I wrote very much like you said, a simple abstraction around that, like literally just wrapping the Lua C API and C++ primitives and vocabulary types. So you could call like set argument, set function, execute, get result, get result, get result. But I thought that is quite error prone and it's a lot of typing. So I built the templating kind of abstraction on top of that. So you could still run the Lua script like this manually, but this does it automatically for you, because if you see it folds over all the arguments, sets all the arguments, it sets the function, it calls the execute, and then it unpacks all the results. So it just kind of does all the boilerplate for you. Yeah, no, thanks. I really appreciate it. I don't know. I've not finished writing the code yet, so let's have a look. So script loader, and then default. Throw exception unknown load method. That should include error. Okay. So for a it's gone. Script loader. So for the resource, we want to do what we currently already do. So let's go to Lua level. So this needs basically needs to call GetFile.data. So that means we're going to need it's a little bit annoying because so my issue now is that do I care? I need access to the TLV reader, okay, because that's how I pass it out. Do I want to construct the script loader with that every time, even if I don't need it? So the question is, you've only used like basics variable types and afraid of the newer inventions in C++, such as vector and auto, how is the performance? I think there's a couple of things to unpack there. One, vector is not new. I would consider that even if you're going all the way back to C++ 98, you should still have vector. Auto is from 11 onwards. I think that performance is not your biggest concern at this point. I would imagine the maintainability and readability of your code and the ability for you to design, like, program with intent. So actually how to express the specific problems and the business logic that you're trying to, execute is severely hampered by not using all the things there. Because you're going to need dynamic allocation, right? You're going to need some sort of dynamic array. If you're writing that yourself, that is time wasted away from solving the actual business problem, because you should have used vector. Also, I don't know, take it or leave it. No one likes it. I prefer it because, again, it's less typing. It lends itself quite well to generic code as well. So again, I do not think performance is your issue. I think your issue is probably personal performance, right? How quickly you can write maintainable code that solves the specific problems you've got. Boom, short. No, yeah, these streams are just for shorts generators now. Yeah, I might pass in as problem though, it's already a reference, so I guess we'll have to convert to a pointer because we don't have optional references yet. 20, I think they got standardized for 26. I'm probably thinking about this too much, but then also, like, if we give it, how about this? How about this? How about we have two constructors, right? I'll press the right key in a minute. Something like this. Yes. Yes. All right. Right, so now we don't even need this because we'll just store a, like you say, an optional. I wonder if MSVC have already implemented this. We need if they have. And then we just query. If we've got that, then we should load it. No, it doesn't like it. Okay, fine. Just convert it into a pointer. I could use reference wrapper, but here we are. Okay, fine. Let's get rid of this. Name, and then reader like that, and then this becomes name. Try and keep consistent with my initialization style, but it is hard. Reader, the address of reader. Okay. Right, now we can infer the usage from the how you've constructed the object. Yes, so in C++26, a optional becomes a range of 0 or 1 elements, so you can then pipe it through to transform and filter and stuff like that. They've not done with still expected, although this came up the other day. I was talking to someone about this because they wanted to use it, and it was quite trivial to write a wrapper which turned it into a range, so you could still call begin and end on it. But yeah, you're going to be able to use an optional as a range. Exciting times. I've never looked at the internals of. I'd be interested to know what you what particular parts of my style remind you of that, because I must admit I never really looked into that code, so I don't know what parallels you've drawn, but I'm always interested to know, because I'm, like everyone, reasonably opinionated on how I write code, but I like to think I'm also pretty pragmatic about it. Production ready, yeah. Got to ship it at some point. Okay, so let's do if const auto TLV const auto reader equals star reader. Oh, great. Lots of reading in that. So this will dereference the optional, but only. Is that right? Yeah, sorry. This will dereference the reader only if it's valid. Do I have a plugin for switching between C and header files? Like, no, I just sort of know what the file name is and just open it up. Yeah, we'll run the game. Once we get this working, we'll run the game and I'll talk people through it. So this will only execute if this is true, which is nice, which means it constrains this to just this scope. So then we can do return get image after I include utils. Where's that? GetFile, where does that live? TLV utils, obviously. So let's GetFile. GetFile. Reader. And name. Hello. I'm using Ninja. I guess CMake is the meta build system and Ninja is the actual build system. References can dangle. Oh, hang on here, and then from this return the dot data. Nice. Lots of star operators there. I've never tried it. I've only ever used professionally CMake and scones, so that's really what I have an opinion on. I'd like to learn more build systems, but it's just time. Do you know what I mean? So that'll get that. Else we're going to want to do. I've got a file system. I've got a file primitive, haven't I? Const auto file equals file name. Is that enough? And then I can do return file dot as string. Because that returns a string view because it's a memory map. This does a memory map file. All this misery here. So it can return a string view, but I actually want a separate copy of it. So I could. Ooh, Ooh, do I want to return the string view all the way through? No, because file will go out of scope and it'll close it. No, so I have to take a copy. Yes, yes. Get ahead of myself. Okay, I think that's pretty easy. So I wanted to play around with, so I've got a little side project that I'm messing around with at the moment, and I wanted to do modules and reflection, sort of just figure both out at the same time. They've disabled module support in the reflection fork, so the little bit I played around with them, I'm starting to get it a little bit. Yeah, I think it's just there's a real when you've been when the community has been spending the last 40, 50 years writing header files and CPU files, I think it's a massive paradigm shift to just put everything in a single file with no header files and then just sort of import, export all the bits you need. I think they're pretty good. Like, from what I've seen, I've not used them on a large scale project yet, so it's hard to say where all the bear traps are. Okay, so we're loading. So now I can, let's just check this still blends. Yeah, we'll definitely link. It's slow today. Like, normally it's not this slow, right? I'm sure it's... Let that do its thing. Okay, so let's go back to the level routine. No, let's go back to the level Lua level.h. Nope. So let's change the interface of this. So this will then take a scripting script loader. And so I don't think it, no, it still does need the reader because it resolves resources. But here we can then do a const script loader. Lua level. Chuck that into the C. Scripting script loader, and then script becomes loader.load. Indeed. Just need most problems I think can be solved with just more templates. Why is this not aligned itself? Okay, so now let's go back to. I mean, the templates shouldn't. Will the templates affect the linking? I guess if the symbols are long enough, maybe. Okay, so let's go back to the root. So the level routine is our coroutine for managing the level. So it schedules itself every tick and then does game things. So if the level advances, it handles that. Otherwise, it updates the player, it updates the level, it sets invisibility stuff on the entities, and then yeah, it reschedules it. I use Clang format, and I just accept the fact that it's not very good with ranges, which is not. But I just use I think it's Clang 20 format through Mason, which I think is the Nevian plugin. It's not great. I mean, I don't know if I would. Case in point, but still consistent, even if I don't particularly like it. Yeah, I have the correct answer is probably one of the pre-built configs from one of the big studios like Google or Mozilla or something like that, or LLVM, because then it's just more likely that everyone's code will look the same. However, I disregarded that and tweaked it to be exactly the style I like because it's my code. Yeah, I could, but I suspect most of it is just to do with my weird dev environment. Okay, so we're going to get the level. So this is actually going to. So I think this is going to get level loaders, and then this is going to become an unordered map of a string to a game script loader. We will be unordered though, which is annoying. Maybe I'll do what I did with my custom Clang horror, and no, I mean I just need the script loader knows its own name, right? So I can just do game script loader. I can just use ranges. Don't need to search for one. Flat map. When? Go on. It was standardized. Last version. That was flat map was 23. We should have it by now. I'll send a message to STL. Ask him what he's doing. It's literally the last thing I think STL needs, as in MS STL needs to be 23 compliant. I think that and start lifetime as. This comes up a lot, and it's not a great answer. I don't have an opinion on Rust because I've never used it, and I should, but I don't, so I can't. Where's the typo? It's loaders. It's going to be plural. So I think then I want to now. I think this will work. Can I then do another transform? There's something weird with the interplay between filters and transforms. I might need to transform them all first and then filter them out, but it's fine. I should be able to then do game script loader. E. Some number of brackets later. Okay, so that should get me that. This will get me game script loader. Then this just needs to also produce some script loaders, which I think I can now just do game script loader like that. Oh, bang. Format. Shift it all around. Oh, it's because I've semicoloned in the wrong place. Watch it all go back. There you go. Nailed it. That's how you know you've done something wrong, when it all suddenly just flies across the screen. Oh, they do need the reader. Ooh, good spot. Let's an reader. Don't want to copy of it. Don't want that. And then this would be okay. So yeah, C and C++ are two very different languages. They just share a name, basically, or a common root in their name. They have different paradigms, they have different idioms, they have different best practices, they have different ways of working, and it does both of them a disservice, I think, to munge one into the other. I'm trying to build a game from scratch. Where have we got? Good spot. Turns out I don't actually know what I'm doing. Okay, so this is gonna break everything now. So this is going to be level loaders. Unfortunately, just changing the variable name does not also change the type. And then level. Right, I thought this was going to be a quick change, and as usual, it is not. Scripting script loader, set vector of script loader, and then loaders. Okay. So this now needs to take the. Let's just get rid of this so I can see what I'm doing. Jesus. Okay, so this will make the unique level 8. That should work. Oh no, because it's not. No, nailed it. So this needs to set title loaders dot name. Update some of this bookkeeping logic. Names becomes loaders, and dot name, and loaders. Okay, see if this blends. Not make. That's another project I'm working on. No, not done shadow mapping yet. I want to build out more of a level first and see what our actual requirements are from shadows. As a put my project manager hat on, let's do some requirements capture first before we dive into the implementation. Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. C++ is multi-paradigm, right? It allows you to do object-oriented programming. It also allows you to do functional and imperative or whatever you want to call it. C++, in my mind, it's unopinionated on how you want to write your code and kind of allows you to write it almost as you want. It provides a bunch of primitives and a bunch of constructs like Lego bricks that you can kind of assemble however you want. So yeah, I think to say it is OOP is kind of a bit misleading. I would say it allows you to write object-oriented code if you want. Yeah, it's gonna be a puzzle game. We'll literally be loading it. Hopefully now, right? Hopefully this will work. Called on an empty optional. Have I? I know exactly where that is. Have I managed that? It's this, isn't it? Let's just do if reader star reader. We're gonna be 2-star programmers today. My favorite quote is with C, it's very easy to shoot yourself in the foot. With C++, it's much harder. But if you do manage to do so, you'll blow your leg clean off. Submit a paper, mate. Or is this going to be in a psych? Indeed. Okay. Okay, I think we've loaded our off the disk. Okay, so this is the game so far. It is going to be a puzzle game. The idea being that you have to, at the moment it's barrels, and I strongly suspect it will stay like that. You move the barrels around, and you have to get the color tinted barrel to the solid color target. Okay, but with interesting mechanics. So in this one, the barrel moves when you move, but only when you're looking at it. So if I walk all the way over here, it stops moving. So that's one kind of two mechanics. This level is the same as the previous one, and the next one crashes. But then we're probably going to fix up some of those other levels. But basically, it's not multiplayer, right? The idea is you have to. The kind of vision I have is that for each level, there'll be some interesting set or combination of mechanics, and you have to figure out what those mechanics are and then execute. You kind of plan and then execute. So you figure out, oh, I'm going to have to walk here, 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 stop here, look here, do this. So there might be some sort of timed element to it as well. And then, yeah, each level introduces something new. There'll be like 10 or 15 levels, I reckon, to start with, plus maybe some user ones. But that's kind of the plan. But yeah, it's just, I wanted like a puzzle game based on interesting mechanics around movement and visibility. What do you mean by same line indentation versus new line indentations? This style you see here is what I think of indentation. Okay, let's commit this up. So add script loader class. And it's kind of the same. If I want to do atomic commits, this is kind of the same thing, which is integrate script loading into the level. I like small atomic commits that each check out and build by themselves. It's not always possible. Again, pragmatism above all else, but that's what I strive for in my life. So we got two things to do now. So we need to fix up some of the broken levels, maybe change the ordering around a bit. If you're on Linux, by the way, you know you don't have to back out of, like, you can just background it. If you do Control Z, it'll go into the background, right? So I do this as well, so then I can run lazy git. And then if you type FG foreground, it'll pop that process back. So I often have to duck in and out of NeoVim, but I just background it and foreground and bring it back to the foreground. Yeah, and you can stack them as well. So if you do jobs, it will show you all the. So my fish terminal shows me all the backgrounded jobs, which is nice. But if you just type jobs, you'll get them, and you can stack them up. I think I've been through this. I worked with a guy once who didn't use Git. All he did was just open up Vim, a file in Vim, make some changes, background it, effectively reset that, and then like open up another copy of Vim over that, and then make some changes, and then background it. So his revision was just a series of Vim snapshots in his backgrounded processes in memory. So if he ever wanted to go back to what he was doing, like, I don't know, 3 changes ago, he would just find that process and bring that to the foreground, and it would have in the Vim buffer the copy of the text at that time. Yeah, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's fascinating to watch. Using sort of Linux background processing as your source control. Because it's like an undo tree, right? You could just sort of walk away back through all the undos you did. Yeah. The place I have where all the lives are, you explain what you do, or is it just going? I like to think I explain what I do as I go along. Like this is for me to talk about C++ and how I write it and how I like to solve problems. And I like to think I give a reasonable explanation of what I'm doing. It's not just me like typing. Yeah, I have that plugin that opens a lazy Git env. It's this. I have it mapped to leader LG. I think Vim has an undo tree interface as well. I just never use it. Okay, so the things we need to do are fix up the old levels or start trying to load some more models. I don't really know. I kind of feel like I should fix the levels, but so people can play them. Yeah, okay, fine. I'm just a little bit. I want to get on to doing something else. But let's have a look. So banana, I think, was the broken one. Assets. So this is, excuse my terrible Lua setup. It is not great. Okay, so what am I missing? Oh god, I'm missing quite a lot. I'm just gonna patch some of this up. I changed the Lua interface and I only updated some of the levels, so it now has this concept of like a state which you need to maintain. That's the same update level. That's probably got some missing functions as well. If the verses, so all the levels are driven by Lua. Lua sets up what barrels they're going to be in, what color they're going to be, and it controls the movement mechanics as well. So the idea being that I just, in theory, just write a bunch of Lua scripts. If I think that's right. There's only 2 barrels in this, isn't there? Oh. So restart level does all that. It needs to reset the state. Get rid of that, don't need it. Is complete now becomes returning the state, which I think I had up here. Yes. And we've written a whole bunch of interop to our native like C++ vector and stuff like that. Barrel count, barrel info, set barrel handle, barrel intersect. So let's do that. I'll need to rm the resources file and rebuild. Yeah, how do I turn off the LSP? Like, if I hit LSP stop, does that stop it for the current language, or does that stop it for everyone? Or can I just... Do I just need to, like, uninstall it? I kind of still want it for the NeoVim edit files. That's the problem. I still want the Lua LSP. Language server protocol is just a way of NeoVim querying some tool to get this sort of error information. Yeah, okay. TBC. Apparently I made a mistake somewhere. Oh yeah, is it level state? I'm glad I just went and rebuilt all that. I could move this into the we could check this actually by moving it over to the custom one first, right? That's actually, let's do that. So rm, stop. Rm levels, remove that, copy assets, level banana into levels. Okay, so this is the banana level. This, what was special about this one? Oh, doesn't it only move? You can't move. It won't move right when you're looking at it. That's it. So it'll move around like this, but I can't move it any further right until I stop looking at it. Is that right? Me, Frustrum Collings having a bit of a fit there. Or is it the one that does it? There's one as well where it auto moves when you're not looking at it. I honestly can't remember. I'd have to look at the Lua code. But anyway, that works. Yeah, I could definitely be a little bit better at CMake as well. I actually probably just want presets, right? And then I can just be like preset game only, preset tests, something like that. Okay, so if I now RM levels banana and run it. So Apple is solved by, oh dear, missing function level state. Oh, because I need to rebuild the resource pack again. That's why. Let's rebuild that. Is it undefined behavior to dereference adoption without value? Yes. Yeah, I could. It's kind of low on my priority list because it's enough to get us go. So for anyone new here, my philosophy has been, by and large, only write the code I need that gets us towards making a game. So I'm not making an engine. I'm not writing any superfluous stuff as things I might need. It's what do I need right now to progress us towards making a game. Apart from the coroutine event loop, that was a bit self-indulgent. But apart from that, apart from the coroutines, everything is just kind of getting us towards the goal. So if I can build stuff now in a kind of acceptable time, then there is no, I don't see the need to go through and change too much of the CMake stuff. Also, for the first release of this game, I want every single line of code to have been written live. So I don't do anything off stream. So I have to kind of make the most of the 4 hours a week I allot to this. So I do roughly 2 hours on a Wednesday and 2 hours on a Sunday. 4 hours a week is not a lot to make progress. So I really must be kind of conservative, be effective with my time. Yeah, 7,000 lines of code. So that's where we're at, which is pretty good. Okay, let's just check that this now runs. So this is our resource packer that runs as part of CMake. It finds all the Lua files, packs those into a TLV type length value. It's just a simple binary format. Packs in the shaders, packs in the images, does a big old compress at the end, and then just sticks on the disk. Eventually, I'll probably shove it into the exe so it's all self-contained. But for now, we just be packing them into a file. Okay, so we solved that. Okay. I can't remember how you solved this one. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with not... Oh, hang on. Oh, does it move the opposite way when you're not looking at it? How do I get that to... fine. Okay, so that crashed. I am not reporting the name of the script when I fail, so I know it's missing level state. I guess I could look at it alphabetically, right? It's going to be Kiwi is the next one. It's about 7,000 lines. Yeah, I know. I really should. Do I even have access to that though? So that's a good point. Let's just see if we can fix this now. So I've got the script loaded, but I don't maintain it. The level would have to know, because at some point when we post the level complete, I'm just like Lua level question mark. The point is, some of these throw like I guess like transitively, like the thing that detects the missing function is deep in the bowels of the Lua script stuff, and that throws. So I've got the Lua script at that point. It doesn't care about the name of a file. It's just worried about Lua code. So I guess I could just log it. Would probably be the correct answer. In fact, actually, why don't we just do that here, because I still have access to it. So let's do log info loading level there you go. So at least we can find it in the logs. Logging is also pretty template heavy, but it's just so I could use std source location. Okay, so let's have a look at assets. I'll fix up. I suppose we should fix up most of these. It's clearly not going to take too long. Barrels, and then we can save loading the next level, like the next set of assets for Wednesday. So update level goes there, and then whatever is in here is complete comes up to here, and then it's if is complete, then 26 to yank. Sorry, I have a habit of speaking aloud the Vim motions that I'm going through. That's what. So then restart level is the same. No, it's not. Update that. Have one of these. Have one of those. Bit of this. Bit of that. Bit of the other. This should really be. I have the ability to query if functions exist in the script. This handle entity intersect should probably be queried first. I'm tempted to add like a try call into Lua as well, so just if it's not there, it doesn't consider an error. But for now, here we are. Yeah, it's not great Lua, so don't if this is your first intro to Lua, do not consider this in any way good or representative. But it is Lua, and that you can't deny. What's the go on then? What's that? Colour me intrigued. I don't know why I rebuilt that, because I can just move it over into the user levels. It's kind of what I shoot for in most things in my life, like not terrible. My go-to state. Debug.getInfo2, obviously, S source. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Okay, so do I have anything in levels? So let's copy above Kiwi. So this will load this first, and we can check then that this does indeed blend. I like this loading the user levels. Makes life a lot easier. It means I don't have to keep packing it into resources. It's like back how we started when we were originally loading from the disk. We've gone full circle. Right, what does Kiwi do when it's at home? I think this is the one that moves. Yeah, this just moves opposite and only when you're looking at it. So if I'm not looking at it, it doesn't move. Imagine you've got lots of these all moving around at the same time, and you have a time limit, and maybe they all have to kind of align at the same time or within some sort of tolerance, or if they clip into each other, there's an issue. So each of these levels was just experimenting with a single isolated mechanic just to see how easy it was to implement. These will not be the actual levels. So that will progress. So then we get there, and then oh shit, Kiwi will fail again because I've not repacked the resource. There you go, loading level Kiwi. Let's have a look. I think mango, papaya, and pear all work. So let's RM levels low Kiwi RM resources. Let's get this going. We'll just chat while it's building. Yeah, so generating the resources. This is another C++ app that we built as part of this. It's just wired up in CMake to run at the right time. Annoyingly, it can't detect that any of the resources have changed, and then sure it should do it. We did discuss this on stream. We think there might be a way of doing it with like file globbing and timestamps, but again, it's not a problem that I need to solve right now. Yeah, sorry, that's literally what I was just saying, that we think there it is possible. You can create like a fake target which has all those other files, like glob all those files into it, and then CMake should do it like whatever timestamp checking it does. But it's just not been worth doing. Like again, you could spend. I mean, we spent several streams just trying to write a log function. So okay, so this should. Okay. Mango is sad. Mango is indeed sad. Quick picks up. Okay, so 16 for yank, move over, paste, delete all my code, cry. Oh, more barrels on this one. So this is now, take this. And then if then two of those, slap that there. Job's a good one. Reset the playing state. 3 ink. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Get rid of the other. Or we should create a better template for all this as well at some point, so you can just write the Lua you need. Slap. Oh, it's good to know. I'll have to have a look. Yeah, I mean, like if it's quick and easy, might be something we can do at the end of a stream, but for now, it kind of works. We're using variable for everything. The game just runs as fast as it possibly can. Okay, this is easy. Why do we have this? What was not repacked it again. Okay, so the last one is assets level. So we've got Mango. Papaya has the changes in assets levels, and I think Pear does as well. Okay, fine. So now this should have all the levels. So that'll be a nice end to the stream. Actually, we can build. I can do, because at the end of every stream I do a fresh release. Well, it's not a release mode, but I do a fresh release build and CPack it all up with the resource and everything, and then I stick that on GitHub, which then sends a notification over to Discord. So if people want to play around with this and help me test it at the end of each stream, we should get a new release. No, we never tried a release mode build. No. Too scared to try that. It might work. Okay, fine. So this. This, this. So this one was just experimenting with changing how bright the level is, so that as you get further from the target, the world gets darker. This, again, I thought would be an interesting mechanic, that you can't see necessarily everything unless certain ones are in certain places. So that will pass. This one, I maintain this is impossible, but someone claims to have solved this one, so I'll leave this as the last one. Okay. Hang on, steady. No, that's update levels, and then lock level name. Okay, so what's next? Oh, I tell you what is missing, and that is when we package this up, I would like it to have the example levels directory there. So I don't know if I've got, if I CPack this, okay, user been DTRX game 4. Okay, fine. Rename. So this just has the game and the resource in it. Yeah, I just need to, I think I might be able to just install it. Yeah, this is just never tried it under Wine. I prefer the Linux dev environment, but I wanted to just build a Windows native game. So I'm using the Wine port of MSVC, which is very strange when you say it out loud, and then all my standard Linux tooling. But the actual result that I produce is a Windows executable, and something WSL. When I launch this from the terminal, it just automatically spawns it as a Windows process. Let's do some CMake shenanigans to end this today. So I want to do something like install files, project binary dir templates example.lua destination levels. Is that going to work for me? And then No, not at all. Yes, I believe I am using. Well, I'm using Mason, the LSP formatter discovery tool. I'm using CMake as the build system. Where'd that go? Oh, I bet. Do I need to rebuild it in order to? Do I need to? Computer, hello. This. Oh, we're back. What do I need to reconfigure this? Yes. Then. Let's just try building this again. Just to make sure it does all the CMake goodness. Just because I want to be able to ship the game with an example Lua file that people can start playing around with. Here we go. Cannot find templates. Oh, hang on. I think I've CMake's wrong. Yeah. It's not binary directory, is it? It is source directory, obviously. At least it's not as warm today. It's been pretty warm the last few weeks, and I have suffered for it. Get rid of all that and CPack it. There was the threat of storm, but it seemed to have passed us over. Oh wait, that just worked. It has now put this into a bin directory, which I wonder if it didn't do that before because it was flat. Can I? We're building a game. I'll get up in a minute. Wait, I don't. Can I? Do I need a destination? Can I just install it straight into the root, straight into the CPack hole? Because that's what I really want. I want you to open up the zip, and it's just the game, the resource. Oh, I see. Okay, yes. Yes. I'm not planning on doing that because Windows has the concept of resources, so you can embed arbitrary resources into the executable, and then there's Win32 API for putting those out. So I shouldn't need to do some sort of fancy tack the zip on the end and then go and find it and extract it shenanigans. Yeah, see, we spent a long, like almost a full 2 hour stream, I think, and maybe a bit of another one trying to figure out CPack and to get it to work exactly how I wanted it. We had it kind of working, but it wasn't exactly how I wanted it. All right, let's get rid of that, and then let's CPack this. No, so it doesn't make the installer. It just packages everything. It just packs it into a zip file. Boom, nailed it. That's exactly what I wanted. Good one, Quecko. Good spot. Some levels. And then... Oh, no, no. Steady, 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 steady. There's my root CMake. So we can build that now. I'm just using liblua. Yeah, I don't think I need it. I mean, the idea is if you shouldn't need an installer if everything is self-contained. Like, there's no files I need to ship around. Any registry settings that we do need, I should be able to just set up at the start. So, oh my goodness, I regret using Lua because I did not realize how controversial it was just to use Lua and not the $10,000 forks of it. But here we are. Here we are. I don't really have much else for today because the next thing's going to be quite a big change is because we want to start loading some more levels. I'm just trying to think if there's anything like little tech debt I can pay back. I used to keep a list of all the things I needed to do and then I forgot and then it kind of got lost into the ether. Like, I'm not a great project manager. Did I finish updating all the error stuff to use the format strings? I did do that. Yeah, we can talk through. Also, this here. This uses a config generator. So this basically says if this is true, it's in debug mode, then output this string. So this allows me to use the MSVC ships multiple runtimes with different properties: multi-threaded debug, static, dynamic. I can't remember all of them. There's a bunch of them. This basically says that I want to use the multi-threaded statically linked one, and if I'm in debug mode, I just want to tack the debug string on the end so that it uses the multi-threaded debug one. That's basically it. It's like the C runtime and stuff like that. I want it statically linked in. Yes, exactly. Indeed. I don't know. We could just have a little top-down view at some of the code, I guess. See, people who are new here, quite a lot of you. Let's have a look. So our main is pretty simple. Well, we'll go through some of the code and we'll run it a bit at the end. Convert some of the args into string views. There's all kind of boring stuff. And then the game is the sort of driver of it, which is recently, it's got a lot of includes, but it's recently gotten a lot simpler. So when you run, it sets up all the states for the whole game. So the resource loader, the mesh loader, the cache. It loads, it has a, into the cache it sticks like stuff it knows every level's going to need, like the barrel textures and the floor textures. It loads a load of shaders. It basically just does a whole bunch of chuff at the beginning. And then what's quite nice is it creates a scheduler, which is what our game loop is, and then it adds some routines to that because they're coroutines. So something for handling the input, something for handling the level, and something for doing the rendering, and then it just calls scheduler run. And all run does is whilst there are tasks in the queue, it goes through the queue, and if they are resumable, it resumes them because they're all coroutines. And then it has to do a small amount of bookkeeping for dependent tasks. So if you are waiting on a child, the child has to inform the parent that it's done. It cleans up the queue, and then that's it. Like, our entire coroutine-based event loop is pretty much this one loop. And then a bunch of bookkeeping around rescheduling and stuff like that. So when you await something. So the idea is basically you have the flexibility as a coroutine on how you reschedule yourself. So you can say reschedule me the next tick in 2 ticks time, in 5 ticks time, or you can say reschedule me in some number of nanoseconds. So if you wanted one, so the idea is none of this really cares about this. You just add coroutines, you just add tasks to the scheduler. If one of them was like, oh, I need to run every 16 milliseconds, it could just schedule itself every 16 milliseconds. It leaves the scheduling entirely down to the task. In quite an intuitive way, I think. So for instance, the input routine uses the window, pumps messages, goes through them because it comes back as a variant, handles various things, and then at the end it's like, if I'm still running, as in no one's pressed the escape key, then just co-await myself for 1 tick. So make sure I get called on the next update, and then it'll get called on the next update, etc., and they will do that. But if this was like a physics routine and you wanted to run it every 60th of a second or whatever, you could put in a time here, chrono time, and then it would make sure you're scheduled as close as possible to that cadence. And then the renderer is quite nice as well. Actually, no, I don't know why I said that. It's not. It is simple. So the renderer routine just does some debug drawing. That's the wireframe. Calls the render, and then again schedules itself on the next frame. So if you wanted to be like render every other frame, you could. I don't know why you would. And then the render itself is just binds a frame buffer, sets up a load of OpenGL chuff, sets up some custom writer primitives for writing the various UBOs and SSBOs and all the other BOs. Renders the skybox, renders all the entities if they're visible, so it has frustum culling. Run some debug lines if they're there, and then the post-processing we have at the end just does tone mapping and gamma correction. Oh yeah, we are the only macro I have in the entire thing is this X macro for resolving all the OpenGL functions, and yes, they look a lot like Welsh town names. I do not think there is a way of doing this to have the same level of autonomy that I want without doing it as a macro. I will concede this is the one macro I have to use in order to make it so that any function I want to add, I just have to define this one line, and they auto get resolved, and they auto get named as the pointer, as the right pointer type. Sorry, with the right name as well. This is the only time I need that. Yeah, I'm not saying it keeps me up at night, but I'd rather I didn't have to write it. I could write it without, but I'd have to maintain 2 separate lists. I'd have to maintain the function pointer list, and then I'd have to maintain another one where I actually go and resolve it, because this just means that it's been ages since we looked at this code. It just means that in order to resolve those functions, I just have to define, I guess there is technically another macro here, the resolve GL function, and then I just shove it in this X macro, and it automatically expands it and calls resolve GL function, which then does the wiggle, get proc address, etc. Which means if I wanted to remove that macro, I'd have to maintain a list of the function pointers, and then I'd have to have another list in here where I manually called resolve GL function on them all, and that's not the interface I want. I want to keep it. I literally want to just add it in one place and have the system figure it out. Reflection, question mark? Indeed, I'm going to reflect the shit out of everything. Because like I said, all the... where's the interop? I've got like all this interop stuff for interoping between the C++ vector class and the Lua vector object. It's just boilerplate. It's just boilerplate. I forgot about this. Miserable. Yeah, so I'd love to be able to somehow, I don't know how, attributes, I guess, reflect all this out. My vectors are context things that have an XYZ, apart from this, which in C++26, when MSVC catches up, will be, because I believe the maths operators are becoming context finally. So I can make all of this context. What are they on this? They are, what are, they become these, which I guess are functions which initialize, but then they have the .x, .y, .z property on it. It's been a while since we looked at this. What do they become? Yeah, they become this. So they get their own meta table, and then they have XYZ fields. And the things that call hypot as well. So is it magnitude, which calls length? It kind of trickles through. Yeah, so it's all patched through. So you write, I wanted to write Lua code as much as Lua-esque and C++ code as much as C++-esque, and then do all the miserable glue between them so that you don't have to worry too much about it. And then you can do where's the tests? So there, then you basically just get something like this, where you have, if I wanted to add two vectors in Lua, they would take v1 and v2, and then I would take my C++ vectors and I would create the script runner, and then all I do is execute it and say I want to get a vector 3 back, and I'm going to give it two vectors here, and then it does the magic under the hood, and then you literally get back a vector 3, which is this result type. So you can pass the resulting objects back out of Lua into C++, and it maps between them all, which I think is pretty neat. It was a fair amount of work, but I think it was well worth it. I would say. But yeah, the script runner is really nice. I think that was one of the things I'm quite pleased about that we spent some time writing. Okay. Actually, I'm going to kick off the release build now, because it does a full fresh build from scratch. Oh yeah, go on then. Show you the game. It's not that great. Here we are. So it's got objects, and they move around in interesting ways depending on whether you're looking at them or what's going on. So I think these objects only move when you're looking at them. So if I step over here and move around, they remain in the same place. The red one moves with the camera. The blue one moves opposite to the camera. And then, yeah, the idea is you've got to get them onto their respective targets. I've obviously messed this up now. But I could move the blue one over to there. This is kind of the mechanics I want to get to. Get the blue one in place, stop looking at it, and then move this one. And maybe I want to get a little bit closer to that. So I stop looking at this one. Oh, everything's gone. Maybe bring him over with me. Try not to look too... So I looked at the blue one then, and he started moving again. So it's kind of stuff like that. Kind of like that, yeah. But there's going to be a bunch of different mechanics, and I want them to kind of... I'm thinking of having each mechanic associated with a color, and then having the barrels striped. So you'd be like, that's a red and a yellow stripe. So I know that it does this and this. So that's a red and yellow and blue stripe. So I know it does this, this, and this. Something like that. So again, it becomes intuitive. You have to work out each of the unique mechanics, but then you have to figure out how they interplay with each other. But it shouldn't be too surprising. That's kind of my plan. Anyway, that's all I've got. I think it was reasonably productive today. I'm glad we got the user levels fixed, so I'll get that shipped out soon. 602 translation units, nice. Do come along, join the Discord. It's great fun. And very close to 90,000 subscribers on YouTube now, which is crazy. I never thought I'd be saying that. Oh yes. Well, it's actually it's bottles of left today, but sure. Normally it would be tinnies. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. We'll be back Wednesday and we'll do some more. And I want to start improving the level and make it start looking a little bit better. So we'll load some new assets. Thanks everyone for coming along, and I'll see you all soon.